Hey there, giant fans of fun. It's Thad, the theme park giant, and today is National Roller Coaster Day. So what better place in the world to be than Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio? I'm here for the next 2 days, meeting up with some friends today, probably doing a lot of videoing. I'm gonna get the Fastlane Plus tomorrow so I can really do a lot of rides, because even though it's a Wednesday in middle of August, this place is always busy. I've been coming here since I was a kid. My family used to drive over here from Iowa almost every year from about the time I was 16 on, and it's just one of those places I don't get back to very often, but I came last year and had to get back again. So come along, it's one of the best parks in the world, and we're gonna have a giant day of fun. And they've got the Peanuts gang, these topiaries out front before you go through security. Very cool. I heard some parents asking their kids if they knew who these people were, and they actually did, so that was good. We need more peanuts in the world. And Cedar Point added a new roller coaster this year called Wild Mouse. It is a spinning Wild Mouse, and actually one of the better versions I've been on. I got paired up with a family. I'm waiting to meet some friends later, and we were super off balance. The dad rode next to me, and they had a young daughter, and the wife was not a very large person either, and we spun like crazy. So you can definitely make it off balance. I do love kind of a little theming here. They've given names to each of the different cars for each mouse. And then there is a cheese car, which I actually got to ride for the first time, so that was pretty cool. But yeah, nice little addition to the boardwalk area. And I do love that they added this kind of classic facade for the entrance that you have to pass through. Kind of did a throwback boardwalk area over here by Gatekeeper, so this fits in really well. And they were missing a mouse coaster since they took Wildcat out a few years ago. I'm not always the biggest fan of these, but this actually is kind of what the park needed, and it's a good one. I love the nice little touch with the cat at the top, reaching down to get you. Just the little things. It's a pretty good layout. Super smooth too. Usually even spinning Wild Mouse rides are a little jarring through those like top areas, but this was really well built. I would be very happy if more parks put these in. And this was also part of the new additions for 2023. They added this grand pavilion over here. I think there's a restaurant. I think it's like event space, stuff like that. But they probably needed something over here like this. And they started to move some more flat rides over here. The Ferris wheel's been over here, but they added a few more things just to well, it's kind of sparse over here, honestly. So when they put Wild Mouse in, they put some other things in. Looks great. And the park's B&M Wing Rider, Gatekeeper, also is over here in this area. Not the biggest fan of this thing. It looks big and fun, and I don't know. I just think they're kind of, when they're too big like this, they just, I don't know, they're just a little too slow through the inversions and things like that. I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of these. I will say one thing they started to do right around Gatekeeper's time was build these really cool entrance plazas for their new rides. They would get a big sign, they get some theming, and they look great. Well, I know my friend Alan will love this. And one of my favorite inverteds in the world, Raptor. This is a very important roller coaster for me. This was really the first big time roller coaster that I rode when I was a kid. I used to be terrified of them, and I'd make my parents take us to places. And in 1994, we came here for the first time, and my mom said if I didn't ride Raptor, it was a brand new ride, we would never go anywhere else again. And now look what happened. When you stand on the midway, everywhere you look at Cedar Point, there is some giant ride within a close vicinity. And we have not even reached the back of the park, where I think a lot of the real heavy hitters are. This place is insane. I love it. Cedar Downs is one of those rides at Cedar Point that you just don't see very many other places. It's hard to kind of describe. It's like a faster carousel. This is super fun though. And since Cedar Point has one of everything, this is their dive coaster, Valraven. At the time it was built, it was the biggest in the world, but it has been passed. And of course, with these you get the very slight holding brake before the 90-degree drop. Here they come. And there's a tree. More of a look at Valraven, including kind of the ride plaza here with the entrance and everything. Really nice themed gift shop over here as well. Like I said with Gatekeeper, this is when they kind of started to build more of these ride plaza areas for their bigger installs. And the oldest roller coaster in the park is Blue Streak. A great little woody. The wood is painted blue as well, hence the name Blue Streak. But this thing's a lot of fun. I didn't get to ride it last year, so I'm definitely going to make time for it this time. Probably not today, there's already a line. And one of the most iconic shots of any midway at any amusement park in the world. You've got the two corkscrews from Corkscrew, the ride. And it's just one of the coolest visuals. A lot of parks used to have these rides, they've taken them out. They've left some of the corkscrews as like an homage, but Cedar Point is still running theirs. And it's not very good, but it looks pretty. And that's all that matters. And it's a different angle of Valraven, but just to give you an idea just how massive this thing is. It is huge. And here goes another train over the top. And one of the most recognized roller coasters in the world, Millennium Force. When it opened in 2000, it was the first roller coaster to be over 300 feet tall, 90 plus miles an hour. I still think it's great. I know a lot of coaster enthusiasts don't think it's like anything special, but I don't know. I think it's just pure fun, pure speed. And depending on the day, you can actually get some airtime on it. And we've got Rougarou over here. This used to be a stand-up coaster named Mantis, and it was really brutally rough, so they changed it over to be a floorless train. I actually really like it. Got my first ride on it last year after the switch, and I think it was a great move. And then, of course, Iron Dragon, the suspended coaster. Not many of these around these days, these old aero suspendeds, but they've left Iron Dragon running.
Good sequence. Yeah.
When you get back here on the Frontier Trail, you can really see how gigantic a 300-foot roller coaster is. And then back here, right by Millennium Force, as you go back to the back of the park, they have an area with no real rides. It's just the Frontier Trail. Very cool. There's horse rides, there's these different little exhibits. Some of those things for the less thrill-seeking people in your family. Got a couple camels over here. They just happen to live right under Millennium Force's, I don't know, first wave turn here, fan turn, whatever they call these. Kind of a strange existence, as you're about to see. Doesn't seem to mind it though. I guess hundreds of times a day, you probably get used to it. Back here we've got more animals to look at. Snake River Falls over here. I always like to watch when the boat gets to the top and the water starts to pour down. Here it comes. I've actually never ridden this one. If you followed the channel enough, you know how much I don't really like to get wet and walk around the parks. So this is a definite no for me most days. Well, I guess every time I've ever been here. And it is eventually going to drop. Here it comes. And that's why I don't ride it. And this is Maverick, one of my favorite steel coaches in the world. It doesn't look like much, it's only like 130 feet tall, but it is one of the most intense roller coasters you'll ever ride. Intamin knocked it out of the park with this thing. It's all quick direction changes, inversions. ejector airtime. This thing is almost perfect. I always compare it to Velocicoaster as like, it was like Velocicoaster version 1. And then they perfected it. Here it comes. It's got these smaller trains too, so it can do more crazy turns. And look at this part here. Oh yeah. And I know the ride lead here. We'll be meeting up with them later. So if you notice, the lift hill is actually a magnetic launch, but it does slow you down at the top because it is over a 90-degree drop, and I think it would be pretty aggressive if they didn't do that. So the first half's on the other side, and then when you come through under the station, there's a second launch. Here it comes right now. This is just about heaven right here. The Steel Vengeance not far away.
Wait there, wait 1 second.
Barely peeking over the trees there is one of the craziest airtime hills. There they go. Craziest airtime hills I've ever experienced. It's ejector air. It is amazing. And my #1 roller coaster on the planet. Like 532 now. Steel Vengeance. The night ride I had on this last summer was one of the, well, it's the craziest thing I've ever experienced on a ride. I hope it can even live up to half of that. Because this thing runs so fast, it's so intense. The airtime is ridiculous. There's like 20 plus airtime hills. The whole second half is just, I mean, it's heaven. these barrel rolls they do. The one going up and the one coming down are just nuts. That second one that you come down with caught me so off guard the first time I rode it. Got some cheese on a stick, and this thing is massive. Oh my god, this is gonna be a gut bomb.
The other day, a woman.
Look at all that cheese.
Welcome back, Ryder. At this time, please unfasten your seatbelt. The train comes to a complete stop. Push up on your left bar and exit carefully to your right. Thank you for riding Millennium Force and enjoy the rest of your day here at Cedar Point.
So day one ended, for the video at least, yesterday afternoon. My phone was dying. I went back to take a quick break, and then I met up with friends last night, so I didn't want to do any recording. We were just riding and hanging out. Had an awesome time. Back here today to do a lot of riding. I've got my Fastlane Plus, so that's $160, but the park is pretty dead, so I'm hoping to get a lot done. Heading back to Maverick. Already did Millennium Force and Iron Dragon. Rode a few things last night, so I should be able to ride everything I want multiple times today.
Then you have to go around.
Stop by to ride Maverick and see my friend Nick working, and someone unbuckled their seatbelt as they were going out of the station. So we're gonna wait for a while. Steel Vengeance and Maverick. Quite possibly the best 1-2 punch that I can think of at any park that I've been to. And they have a classic mine train here, the Cedar Creek mine train. Gonna hop on here, there's no line. Haven't done this one in probably 20 years, more than that. I'm glad I decided to do most of my filming yesterday and to hang out with my friends last night, because today's kind of my ride day and it is dead. I did still get the fast lane plus, like I mentioned. It's still very helpful on things like Maverick. I probably skipped well over an hour line and walked right on. Millennium Force was a walk-on already, but that'll help later. And then I skipped a decent line for Steel Vengeance. So yeah, still worth it, but park is pretty light today. I think they were expecting rain, so a lot of people came yesterday because it was very busy for a Wednesday. And they have a classic racing coaster, Gemini. One side's not open right now. Getting it up and running. More of Gemini. It's actually racing now. They opened up the blue side. You'll see on these turns, when the trains even up, people give each other high fives. It's actually allowed and kind of encouraged. I remember doing it at the park in 1994, the first time I came. And the ride that pretty much put Cedar Point on the map back in 1989, Magnum XL-200, first roller coaster in the world to go over 200 feet. It was the tallest and fastest ride in the world for quite a few years. And honestly, until Millennium Force showed up here in 2000, this was the main draw. It's still great after 34 years here. They just did some work on it a couple weeks ago, I heard, so it's running real well right now. I will always love the Magnum XL-200 logo, and the trains and the station. It's very 80s futuristic. It just takes me back. I love it. And of course, the big news recently, top Thrill Dragster 2. In case you don't know what this is, it's over 400 feet, has a over 100 mile an hour launch, and it's been closed for a couple years because there was an accident, but they recently announced they're doing top Thrill Dragster 2, and what they're going to do, they will have another over 400 foot spike back there, and it's going to do a rocking launch. So you're going to get launched backwards up the spike and face straight down, and then get launched up and over the top hat that's always been there, and then back to the station. Opens next year. And they've got the signage up for new ride. CP Racing joined the team 2024. Good Lord, that thing is gigantic. And as you'd expect when you're updating a giant roller coaster, the work has started over here. See, I'm working on the launch track. I did notice more track over here, and there are some footers and a few supports going up over by Iron reverse launch 74, then backwards at 101, and then up and over at 120. I know people are a little confused by this since it might be really bad for capacity, and that's an issue at Cedar Point, but I guess we'll see. I mean, at least they're doing something to save the ride. Sadly, I never got to ride the original. It's a very long story. So I'm excited that I get to actually experience it, since everyone says it's better than King Dakar. So yeah, we'll come back next year. And you can barely see them there on the island, but those are the supports I was talking about. You can see them better from the Iron Dragon line. I rode it this morning and noticed them. Talk about some nerd footage right there, folks. And here comes Iron Dragon. Of those suspendeds anymore, so I'm glad they still have it. Even if it was one of the more mediocre layouts, I'm glad they still have it. So humor me here, this is an ongoing debate, but if you look at Valraven's track, there goes Corkscrew. If you look at Valraven's track, starting on the left there, it looks like an O, and then it kind of looks like an H if you do it in script. So it looks like Ohio. Do you see it or do you not? I actually see it. I think they did it on purpose. We had a nice conversation about this with some friends last night. I just think it's too coincidental, especially with how big the script Ohio is for like Ohio State in this area. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. And when Corkscrew was built, it was the first ride to go upside down 3 times. It is a classic, but I will say it is not very smooth. I gave it a courtesy ride. Probably won't give it one for a few more years. We've got a little extra time and I haven't done the train for a long time, so I'm gonna hop on.
Final stop, and I have instructed you that it is safe to exit. For the Cedar Point and Lake Erie Railroad, your next station stop will be Frontier Town, where you may leave the train to enjoy the excitement of the Old West. Please remain
Cell phone use of action from the bar. Welcome back, riders. How was your ride?
There are empty rows on Raptor. That's how empty it is right now. You can see out here to the west, there's a big storm rolling in. I'm gonna try and hit Raptor and Gatekeeper and get out of here before it hits, and then hopefully come back tonight after the sun goes down for some night rides, because it's supposed to clear out around 7:30, I hope. So yeah, fingers crossed. All right, giant fans of fun, I think that's gonna do it. You can see the storm rolling in behind me. I might come back tonight, depending how long it goes. I'm hoping to get some night rides in, but the storm looks pretty bad, so I guess we'll see. I don't know if the coasters are running right now because the wind is so bad. So yeah, but got here right at 10. I did buy the Fast Plane Plus. It was at 159 today. I gambled. I didn't probably need it for most things, but it is very valuable in Maverick, Steel Vengeance, Millennium Force, Valraven. So I still think it's worth it. But yeah, I rode Iron Dragon, Millennium Force, 2 times on Maverick, 2 times on Steel Vengeance, Magnum XL-200, Gemini, Corkscrew, Rougarou, Valraven, and Blue Streak. And Raptor and Gatekeeper were closed. I rode Raptor last night, so I'm good. Don't really care for Gatekeeper, so if I don't ride this trip. Boo-hoo. But yeah, this might be it for this video. So we'll see you at the next park. If not, there might be some nighttime footage of the park. So we'll see you next time. And perfect timing. It started to rain right as I got back to my car, and I'm very thankful. So, all right, I think this is gonna be a big one.